Hello and welcome to the Night Feed. I'm your host, Charlotte, here to bring you some comfort, camaraderie, and conversation and keep you company during, let's face it, one of the toughest parts of being a new parent, the Night Feed. Tonight's unpaid sponsor is locking your preschooler in the car to keep them safe. Sometimes you gotta do what you gotta do. And this happened the other day on the way home from preschool. My eldest is only in of a morning, so 9 till 12. And Jason is actually off at the moment. I'm really fortunate. He's got a good chunk of time off. So he's been doing most of the school runs. However, the other day I said, you know what? I'll pick her up with the other two. I'll go with the babies and I'll pick our eldest up. So Jason says, yeah, all good. He had to be somewhere anyway, so it worked out fine. Now, bearing in mind, obviously, some mums do this from week 2, I guess, when they've only got 2 weeks of the dad being off. So credit where credit's due to mums who have to jump right back in and to single mums as well, because it's not easy getting all the kids out the door and in the door, as I found out the other day. So I got my almost 3-year-old and newborn baby ready, and we ventured off to pick my oldest up. We got to school. She was thrilled to see us. We walked home, we skipped. She was picking flowers for me along the way. It was very dreamy, and I thought, oh, this is fine. There's no concern here. This is nice and easy. I can pick her up every day. There's no big deal. Walking along the street, said hi to the window cleaner. It was all going really nice, and we got to opposite my house, and we don't live on a very busy road. It's quite quiet, but the cars go fast, particularly, I'm going to say it, the Amazon drivers. Oh my Lord. So road safety, obviously, very important. So I'm holding her hand as we cross the road, and we're looking both ways. And out of nowhere, she just let go of my hand and said, I'm looking on my own both ways. And I said, no, you must hold Mummy's hand on the road. No, I'm doing it myself. Bearing in mind, I'm manoeuvring a double pram in the other hand. And she's like, no, I want to do it myself. And she's trying to be independent and doesn't realise the life-threatening danger she's in at this point. So I'm kind of losing it a bit, like, no. In the end, I had to just pick her up with my other hand and get her onto the pavement, put the pram brake on. We're outside my house. And I said, right, you need to go and sit on the step while I get the key. So sit her on the step at the front door, and she darts to the side of the driveway. And I went into full panic mode then. I thought, she is on one a bit here. She could run into the road. And I trust that my 4-year-old wouldn't run into the road, but they are still at that age when you cannot put 100% faith in that. So I said, no, you need to go in the house while I get the baby and your sister in the house. And at this point, my 3-year-old and my newborn were being really good in the pram. They were just watching all this unfold, like, what's she going to do here? And I opened the front door. She wouldn't go in. She was using her legs and her arms. And I think she sensed a chink in my armour that I was weak. And I was like, right, you need to go in the house. I said, it's very important you get in the house right now. Go on, I'll put the telly on for you. You need to start the bribes start coming out, don't they? You can watch the Smurfs. And it wasn't working. And I thought, how am I going to get a baby, a 3-year-old and a 4-year-old in the house safely when one of them is a loose cannon right now? So I locked her in the car. I opened my car, it was on the driveway, and I put her in the back seat, and I thought, do you know what? Locked in there right now, she is safe. She's not going to go on the road. So I put her in the back seat, and I locked the car, and I said, you're just going to have to wait there for a minute. Got the baby and my almost 3-year-old in the house and went back out to her. And she was, bless her, she was really sad on the back seat. And I said, I'm sorry I had to do that, but you have to understand, you cannot run off from Mummy near a road. And she was like, she apologised. And she said, I'm sorry. I said, do you understand the danger of that? And you just find yourself in these situations where you want to split yourself into 3. And I don't know if I was really expecting quite the transition we've had, because when my second baby was born, my eldest was only 18 months, and everyone talks about 2 under 2 as being really, really difficult. Personally, I'm not speaking for everybody, I found it quite smooth, the transition, because number one, we didn't have a school run or a nursery run. Number two, my eldest was only 18 months and she didn't really have the knowledge to have, I don't know, meltdowns and tantrums and be requiring attention as much. She just kind of got the attention because she was only 18 months. And that transition for me was a lot easier than the transition to 3. And what we've been lucky with is that our newborn is very chill. He's so far is a chill baby. And he has to kind of slot in with our routine. When I had my first, and those of you that have one baby right now will know, you can feed on demand, you can rest when the baby rests if you wish, you can watch a few series while you feed and you have your feet up, which I definitely did. But when you have multiple children, suddenly there's multiple routines, and for the third especially, they got to slot in, and they might have a morning nap during the school run, and that's just how it is. And I think as a parent, you become chill in that respect because you have to embrace that. And the more you get pent up about, oh my God, we have to nap now and we have to rest now and he has to feed now, the more stressful it is. So I've just kind of leaned into the chill and leaned into the fact that he will be fed, he will nap. And that's what's been working. Also with bedtime at the moment, oh my God, the heat in this country the last few weeks, I'm not complaining, but when you have a newborn baby, 30-degree heat is a challenge, isn't it? So hats off to all you other mums who've just had babies or have toddlers, in fact. It is hot, and I hope you're all coping well. There's something about 30-degree heat in this country that's different. When we go to Spain or Greece and it's boiling hot, it's nice. You have a sea breeze, you're expecting the heat, it's all good, you've got your sun cream, you're in your swimming cosy. When you're here, there's no breeze, you're in a city, you're not in your swimming costume near a pool, you're at a park baking. So it's completely different. And I know quite a lot of people have been struggling, especially at night, with bedtime. So if this is something you're struggling with, you are absolutely not alone. I don't know if I talked about it last week, maybe I did, but we've had to give in around bedtime a bit because we came to the conclusion that it is not worth the fight in a 30-degree bedroom. It just isn't. You can't expect them to just go to sleep. So there was one night we were watching The Snowman on YouTube at 10 p.m, I think. And we were just all awake. Baby was napping on Jason. And we just thought, well, this is the least stressful option right now. So if your kids are struggling at bedtime, you're not on your own. And I hope you're all doing okay. Okay, let's go on to the emails. I've had some really lovely messages of congratulations for the baby. So thank you for that. Really means a lot. This post is actually from a forum and it just made me smile. I thought I'd share it. It says, the privilege to change a nappy at 3 a.m. I was woken up from sleep at 3 a.m. by the sound of my 3-month-old pooing. It was a blowout and I hadn't washed any new pyjamas. That's a fail on my part for sure. So I had to scramble around to find something to wear. I changed him and he was hungry, so I fed him. He then pooed again and had another blowout, so I had to scrounge around for something else to put him in. We've all been there. I was mentally complaining about having the privilege to change not 1 but 2 blowouts in the middle of the night when I realised, actually, what a privilege it was. I have this beautiful, healthy baby smiling at me. I'm so lucky. I wanted him so much, especially after having a miscarriage. And now here he is, and he's so perfect, and it makes me so happy. I'm so lucky to be awake right now with my baby sleeping on me. Isn't that just so nice? And it's really, really difficult in the moment, especially when you've not done the washing and you've not got anything to put them in, and they have 2 blowouts in one night. I think we've all been there. Sometimes you have to hold your breath and go, oh my God, yeah, this is such a privilege. I had a similar night last night, actually. He was awake from about 3:30 to maybe 5. You know, one of them nights where they're just awake, and no matter what you do, they won't sleep again, and all you want to do is sleep. Like your whole body feels like it's going to collapse. I was holding him like, how am I going to keep holding him? And he just smiled at me. And he's at that age now where it's not wind. And I was like, oh my God, that is just what I needed in this moment, that little smile. And you think, God, yeah, when I'm old and grey, I'll just want one more snuggle. I keep seeing that meme that keeps, that post that keeps circulating about when you're 80, you'll just want to go back for one more snuggle. And do you know what? It's true. And I've been thinking that in the moment when it's been quite tough, that, wow, yeah, I'm grateful for this. Even though it's super tough, even though it's super difficult, it's about just realising how amazing it is that you've got your baby, I suppose, isn't it? Okay, this next one is boomer family comments. Oh, boomer family comments. Who doesn't love a boomer comment? This says, what is with boomer family members and their incessant comments, literally on everything? I have a nap and bedtime routine with my toddler that works, and every time I leave a family function because it's bedtime, they comment, oh, my kids would just sleep anywhere. Or, don't you think you're creating bad habits by never teaching her to sleep anywhere? No, Janet, I just don't want to deal with an overtired, screaming toddler, even down to using a sleep sack. We never had stuff like that. You young people will really just buy anything, won't you? I'm so over it, guys. I gave her an applesauce pouch for a snack, and they acted like I was feeding my child astronaut food. A pouch? We had jars, and that doesn't seem right at all. How's she going to learn to use a spoon? And then these are some of the responses. So someone said, every time a boomer comments about how they did things, I just say, yeah, I know, I've seen your work and I'm not impressed. And they shut up. Oh my God. I ignored boomer advice and got very vocal recently when someone told me I have a baby spoilt when I pick her up when she cried. And I said, yeah, that's us. When she grows up, she's going to say, damn, my mother loved me so much. She's just a baby and can't talk and tell me she's hungry, needs her nappy done, wants a cuddle, isn't comfy, is tired, so leave me to do my parenting, and because you had your turn. Yeah. And then this person's put, what grinds my gears is when they make up problems or hypothetical scenarios that don't exist. For example, don't pick him up too much or he'll want to be held all the time. Except my baby is usually fine chilling on his own in his bouncer or playing that quite a bit. Next one is, don't hold him for naps or you'll have to hold him all night. And my baby falls asleep on his own in his cot since he was 3 months old. And he's big. He'll be very hungry. He needs solids sooner. He eats every 2.5 hours during the day, and at night he regularly does 5 to 6 hour stretches. Growing very well. He'll get solids in due time, of course, but without rushing it. I love their made up scenarios. They're so funny, aren't they? It's like, oh, don't you put them to bed for too long. You'll make a rod for your own back. Don't hold them while they fall asleep. Oh, don't let them fall asleep on you. Don't feed them to sleep. They'll never get to sleep on their own. There's so much, isn't there? And it's like, how do you find the balance? Like, there's so much to consume online about parenting now. I was actually talking to my own mum about this earlier, because my eldest is struggling a little bit with her emotions at the moment. And we were just discussing the different ways of parenting and how back then there was like a book my mum had, like What to Expect, like the iconic book. And she said there was no social media, there was no forums and Mumsnet. You just kind of did what your family did or your friends did. And there's something, I've talked about that before, there's something really nice about that, because I feel like we're fed so much information. Even when I know I'm doing the right thing, I'm like, oh, but is it? Like if I have to discipline, I'll discipline. And then a post will come to my mind about gentle parenting and how discipline can upset them and cause it. And I'm like, no, I'm sticking to my guns, and it's easy to get swept up by the amount of information. And it just links to these boomer comments, I think. There's so much that people will tell you, and you just have to go with your own gut, don't you? Next night is what's trending. I just spoke about this then, actually, and there's a post circulating on Instagram, Facebook, and it's about when you turn 80 and how you'll look back on a picture from today and you will wish with all your body and soul that you could go back for one more snuggle or one more messy play or one more mess on the kitchen floor that you can tidy up while they run and mess up another room. And at first it really got me, like it made me cry because I was having quite a bad day and I was like, oh God, yeah, why am I moaning? Like I've got nothing to moan about. But then I think there's also a bit of a guilt trip with it because it's okay to find it hard, isn't it? It's okay to have them days where you're like, oh my goodness me, like how am I getting through this? And then you see something like that and you're like, you ungrateful cow, like why are you moaning that there's a bit of cereal on the floor, and why are you moaning that there's breakfast dishes? Of course there's going to be breakfast dishes. And it's a real paradox that we live in as mums, I think, that you're damned if you do, you're damned if you don't. Like if you're not enjoying it, you're guilty. And if you're enjoying it too much, it means that the laundry's not been done and the dishes haven't been done, and oh gosh, it's like it can be quite overwhelming, can't it? The emotion side of things. And I'm definitely feeling those emotions now when I'm 6 weeks in with a newborn. And you forget how many emotions your body feels. And I saw this other post which was about how women deal with postpartum. Let me get it up. Here it is. It says, after giving birth, it takes a woman 6 months for her internal wounds to heal, 12 months for a physical recovery, 2 years for hormonal balance, and up to 5 years to rediscover her identity. So yeah, it's a lot that we go through, isn't it, when you think about it? And it's okay to feel happy 1 minute and a bit sad the next. And even the happiest of us who absolutely love being at home with the kids, I know not everybody does, we can have days when we're like, oh my Lord, like this is so overwhelming. And I think you speak to people who, you know, go back to work quite soon. I've spoke to a few people who are like back in work now and they're like, it's such a break. And I'm like, oh my God, I can go to the toilet on my own. I can decide when I want my lunch on my own. So I guess what I'm saying is if you feel a bit overwhelmed right now, don't worry. It happens to us all. I'm very fortunate that Jason's off for quite a while and I get overwhelmed, and it's just okay to feel that way. And I know that when I'm 80, I will want to go back. I will want to hug my babies again. But I'll also appreciate that I've got them as adults and that that's a different season. And I'm sure with every season as a parent comes amazing things, you know, and like my mum absolutely loves being a granny. My dad loves being a granddad. It's like a different dynamic that almost has, my mum is saying you can slow down more and really be in the moment. Whereas when you're a parent, you can be in the moment as much as you try to be in the moment. But you've also got to do the dishes, put the tea on, do the ironing. I don't do the ironing. I don't iron. I don't know why I said that. I iron on the go if I have to. But yeah, you know what I mean? There's always something to do. So if you have a newborn, which I know a lot of you do, or a young baby, just today or tomorrow, whenever it happens, enjoy those naps, enjoy those contact naps. Forget about the jobs that you have to do. I'm not saying all the time. I'm just saying take one day to embrace those snuggles, because I did this the other day when my eldest was in preschool. I was at home with my almost 3-year-old. She's 3 next week. I keep saying almost 3. I keep saying she's 2 and she's basically 3. With her and my newborn, and we just snuggled and watched telly, and I started to feel bad after an hour. I was like, oh gosh, she's just been watching telly this morning. But you know what? She was so content. She was snuggled into me. I had my feet up. I was feeding on and off the baby. He was snuggling, napping on me. And I just embraced the fact that I'll do the kitchen later and I'll do the washing later. And these snuggles won't last forever. So lean into them, enjoy them, and don't put all this pressure on yourself, because like Jason said the other day, when we had a bit of time to ourselves, I was about to get up and do all kinds of cleaning, and he said, just wait. He said, do you know what? We're constantly cleaning when we've got the girls anyway. I thought, yeah, do you know what? We are. He said, so why do it for it to just get messed in a minute? He said, we've got downtime. Enjoy it. And I did. And I'm so glad I did. So if you get downtime, enjoy it and don't beat yourself up. Finally, to finish with a quote I wrote. It's always 3 a.m. when I wake with a cry, a tummy in knots, feelings I've never felt before. You reach across crumpled sheets to scoop me up once more and wonder how long it'll be tonight. 1 hour, 2, maybe 3. As an hour passes, I'm still struggling. You tell me you wish you knew what was wrong. Another hour passes and you think, with the only 2 awake, that all the babies go to sleep after a feed and quick pat. But no, that's not true. There's a whole village of defeated mums craving just an hour of sleep before the birds start to sing. They're awake too, feeding, patting, changing nappies, wet clothes, then repeating like it's nothing, even though all their limbs ache for sleep. It's always 3 a.m, but it won't be forever. One day you'll look back at this version of 3 a.m. and long to be holding and soothing that tiny baby back to sleep. Thank you for listening tonight. I hope you all enjoyed tonight's podcast. I hope you're all doing well. Please keep sending your emails, any requests, anything you'd like me to share or discuss. I always love hearing from you. And I hope you all have a restful night ahead. Good night.